Good afternoon, YouTube. I'm always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, we're heading into the weekend. Can you believe it? We're just a few days away from the start of the weekend, and we have here a show come up. It's in Spain. That is the Empro Classic. The show's been around for quite a while now. And last year it added women's bodybuilding. Year before it didn't have it, but it added last year because I think the original promoter who promotes the show had it in the Imperial, but he let the Imperial go when it went to the UK, and now it's going to be in Germany. It's getting promoted by Dennis James. So the list came out a couple of days ago. I wanted to give some time, before I post and do a video about it. But like I said again, I'm always want to support any show that gives the opportunity for women's bodybuilding. So the original list here was for women's bodybuilding. We had 5 ladies. And I was kind of a bit disappointed. But as you know, there's not a lot of ladies over in Europe that do bodybuilding. There's maybe a handful here and there. And also, many competitors don't want to fly out of the country just to go to a show that might not get the Olympic qualification, the cost of this and everything. But like I said again, it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. But I do wish there was more bodies. But we have the present ladies here. A couple ladies I've known, done interviews with, and some ladies I follow on social media. But then I saw this morning, and it was posted by the Female Bodybuilding channel. Shout out to AJ and JB. They're always on the game on this stuff because they're the guys in the know. It changed from 5 to 4. And who's missing? Tiana Holzhauser, aka Tiana Flex. Tiana had to drop out. I don't know circumstances, but usually what I've heard that if it's something like either some kind of medical issue, the promoter will let you out of the contract because you signed a contract. If it's not something else, then you have to pay a fine. So I'm hoping it's a medical issue, not too severe where, Tiana has to pay a lot of money just because she dropped out of this show. But like I said, I'm a fan of Tiana. She did pretty good in her last show. That was Rebuild Dynasty. That was a couple of months ago. So first off, we have is Josefa. As you know, Josefa's from Sweden. And she actually made her bodybuilding debut in women's bodybuilding at the Romanian Muscle Fest back in 2022. Personal lady, I follow on social media. It's been a couple of years since she last competed. So let's see how she does in size and strength, rather. Next up we have is one lady who I follow also on social media. She turned pro back in 2023 at the Orlando Amateur Olympia, and that is one Mrs. Montana Lopez. I know my man KA did an interview with her some time ago. Now, she did a couple of shows last year. I know she did Triple O. That was her first debut in the States. Then she did this show, the Imperial, which is in her backyard of Spain. And I think also she did the Alina Popa show, which is in Romania. Press Physique, just crazy muscle. I mean, just great. I hope she does well this show. I felt like, I think with Tiana out of the show, I think there's a good opportunity for getting qualification. I know she took second to the last year's champion, Nadia Capasotto. Next up is a lady who had the pleasure of being on my channel. We did an interview a while back, and that is the lovely Miss Romana Skotson. Now, this is going to be her women's bodybuilding debut. In truth, at this same show, she got her first Olympic qualification. That was back in, I think it was 2022. Was it 2022 or 2023? I think it's 2023, one of them. And, she was going to make her bodybuilding debut last year, but she was dealing with injury, so it set her back. She did a couple of shows, her last couple of shows with women's physique, that was at Chicago and Atlanta. Personally, great physique, been in contact. I can't wait to see how she does at this show. This could be her first qualification for women's bodybuilding and a second Olympic qualification at this show. Next up we have is I'll call it Ilya Starchenko. I apologize. I messed up her name, so I'm going with her last name a little easier, Miss Starchenko. And she's competed at this show before. I think she competed last year. Also, she did the Portugal Pro too. She's originally from Russia. Good muscle, good size. Just got to bring conditioning and the overall aesthetics for women's bodybuilding. So let's see how it plays. She could be a dark horse. She may come in here and take the win. Like I said, we already had a prediction who's going to be, but, it could change. Like I said, I'm kind of disappointed about Tiana not doing the show, but I understand. She lives in South Africa. That's a long way to come over. She took second in Triple O Dynasty. That was a pretty good showing for her, especially making her U.S. debut. There's still some shows that she can do overseas or even come to the States. I think next month is the Portugal Pro, which is, give some time, whatever issues dealing with, get it worked out. Also, the Chicago Pro, and that's also in the middle of July. So that should be enough time if you want to even do one of those. There's quite a few systems shows in states. Like she's often been at the Romanian Muscle Fest, and also there's a new Alina Popa show. So, let's see how she does. Maybe she'll pick one or two of these shows. Next up is Nadia Capasotto. And here where I'm saying I'm glad she's not doing the show. I know Nadia is very competitive. I know last year she did at least 3 shows. She did Toronto, where now she won that show this year. She did this show where she got her qualification, and that was her, I believe, her fourth Olympic qualification, third Olympic qualification. And then she did, the UK show, and she won that. So I'm glad she's not on this list. She already got her Toronto. She already got her qualification in Toronto. Took second in New York. So I'm kind of glad. I know I like to see a lot more bodies, but still, it's not fair for somebody who will get a spot to take a spot for somebody else who might really maybe want to get a shot to go to Olympia. Next up is Barbara Mogin. Now, Miss Mogin, she just competed at the Toronto just like Nadia last weekend. She's from Brazil. She's qualified for Masters Olympia, and she won the 40 plus at Toronto Pro. But this could show she could have done. But I feel like she might do another show. As you know, we're a month away from the Portugal Pro, which is she's from Brazil. So Portugal, Brazil, the language is about the same. Some differences I was told, but still, I think it'd be a show that she probably do, which is where she's familiar with the language. It's a lot easier for her. So maybe we should see her in Portugal. We most definitely might hope we see her in Portugal. We do need some more bodies. Next up is a lady I'm a fan of, and I believe she also had a show last year. That's Jacqueline J. Fuchs. Now, Miss Fuchs, she's working with Hela Trevino, Irene Anderson, and Gina Carvalho with their pro team coaching group. First lady, been a fan for a long time. I hope she does maybe an in-kind show this year. Maybe come back to the States. I think I remember the last time she competed the States was Chicago, and that was back in 2018 when she came in third. I feel like she still should have won that show, but that's just me being a fan. Next up we have is Arsenio Barreto. And Miss Barreto, she's competed quite some shows overseas. I know she got her qualifications both at Portugal, and I think she got one at the, I believe it was the Europa too. But she did qualify for Olympia, where she was top 3 in 2023, but then she kind of fell to the bottom last year. Maybe she'll do Portugal again, where she got her first qualification, and also some other shows. So we're just going to wait and see what she's going to do. Next up is one Miss Alita Opra, and she is from Hungary. And, she made the switch from Physique to women's bodybuilding last year. I think she also did Portugal, and I think she won a qualification at the Lena Popa show. And, President Physique, and I thought maybe she wanted to do this show. But my guess, she might be thinking about maybe taking a shot at Portugal, or also possibly maybe waiting for either the Lena show. Also, the new show, which is promoted by Dennis James, is, the UK show, was the Europe in UK, but now it's in Germany. So she might try to see if she want to wait either to those shows later down the year. Now, one lady who I would think will probably do the show, this is in her backyard of Spain. This is in Spain. This is not, another show in another country or in the States. It's in Spain. That is one Miss Virginia Sanchez. Been a fan of Miss Sanchez. She's been qualified to Olympia twice. She's only been once. I remember one year when she got Olympic qualification, it was during the pandemic, so she couldn't leave because she took care of her son. Then I remember she was planning on competing, but then situation happened. She moved, so she took a step back. So maybe from what I've seen from social media, she looks in great condition. I would think you want to do a show in your backyard. The opportunity is there to see how you do, how you place. But I think she might try to wait for another show, like maybe Portugal or Romania, or hell, come to the States. Hey, we would love to see you in the States competing. It's been a long time since she last competed in the States. I think that was the Romanian Muscle Fest in 2022, I believe. But, impressive physique, and I'm a fan of hers. Now, we have here the list for women's physique, and quite a few ladies here. I think at least 10, I would say. You would think a show like this, you have a lot more. I think last year had a lot more. But, sometimes some competitors need time to get ready. There was a show last weekend at about the same time as the Toronto. There was the Spain Pro Master. And we have some ladies who do come to this show. Wish it was a little more. My guess, they feel like they need more time. So first up we have here is Miss Brigitte. Brigitte, and I don't want to mess up her last name. She's from Austria. She did a couple of shows here in the States, the New York Pro and the Pittsburgh Pro, where she was in the top 5 of both those shows. President Physique, and this is where I feel like, I don't know, part of me's thinking she could do well in women's bodybuilding. Maybe just put on maybe 10 more pounds of muscle, not too much. I think, with her shape and her build, she fits. But let's see how she fares. She could be this show could possibly get her her first Olympic qualification. Next up, we have in one Miss Asul. I don't want to mess up her last name, so I'll call her Miss AB. And she's from India. And this is going to be her pro debut. She's one of two, ladies who earned their Physique pro card in India. The other young lady, I think we might see her competing this year or not. So this is going to be her pro debut. Next up we have is Yulia Galazievich. I want to say, I hate to mess up the last name, so Miss Yulia, who's also from Russia. She competed at the Romanian Fest last year. I think she was in the top 5. Impressive physique. Possibly she might win this show. She's impressive physique. Just these Russian women just bring muscle like crazy. Lean or big, whatever. The Russians are really bringing it on when it comes to bodybuilding. Next up we have is Yasmin Gochich, and Miss Yasmin, I'm gonna call her best way. I don't want to mess up her name. She's one of a number of French women competing here in bodybuilding. As we know, we have the retirement of Anne-Marie Moon. We're still waiting to see if Sophie Leo was going to do the show last year, but she didn't do it. She got a qualification at the at the Portugal Pro as a pro, so it's going to be her pro debut. Press physique, and she's going to be one of, if she gets a qualification here, she'll be one of 2 women from France. So, let's see how she does. Next up we have is one Miss Marina, and I want to mess her last name because, it's kind of long, it's kind of difficult, but she's from Cyprus. As you know, I remember I interviewed one of her other fellow country women, that is Cleo Matakitis. And she's been here quite some time. She does both Masters and Open. She did some shows here in the States. I think she did at least 3 shows in the States. So let's see how she does. Next up we have is Sona Nupan, and she is from Finland. And she competed at the Spain Pro Masters just last weekend, Impressive Physique. She's done Portugal Pro, and also she did a show last year. This is another lady I feel like I think she could do well in women's bodybuilding. This is why I took this picture, because she's doing a typical bodybuilding pose. Usually she didn't open her hand just yet, and I think she could do well in women's bodybuilding. Maybe just maybe a good 10 more pounds of muscle could make a difference. Also, her fellow countrywoman from Finland, that is Paula Ranta. As you know, Paula, she competed this show last year. We took second to the champion Sandra. Paula's been busy. She's done at least 3 shows. This is going to be her third. It's going to be a 4th show since she did New York. She did the Ultima Classic, and she did the Omaha Pro, where she cracked the top 3 of all those shows. Actually, top 5, because I think she took 4th at Ultima. Press physique, still young. As you know, she was figure. She made a switch over to women's physique last year. Like I said, she took second this show, but I think she still needs a little more time to do some more. But she's coming a long way. Maybe after this show, take a sit down, chill. Make some adjustments, and maybe do a show later on in the year. Something like maybe she's from Finland. She can do a show in Germany. That's not too far from Finland. Next up, we have is one Miss Mar Ruiz, and she also competed at the Pro Masters in Spain. This is in her own backyard, so it's great. It's a show that's close and convenient for you. Next up, we have is Jeje Shin, and I'm gonna call her Miss Shin, and she's from China. Now, she made her pro debut at the show in Brazil. Impressive. I think she was a top 3 at that show, so maybe she does a little better this show. And last we have here is Christine Telkir. She's from Germany, and she also competed at the Pro Masters in Spain. Well, let's see how she does this show, but I think maybe she might wait a little later in the year and do the show in Germany that's being promoted by Dennis James. So that might work for her, because it's in her own backyard. Now, one person I thought might try to do a show, Anna Prince. As you know, she was 3rd at the Ultima Classic, and also she did both the Pittsburgh Pro and the Omaha Pro. Impressive physique. No, actually, she was 2nd at Ultima, if I got it correct, but 3rd at Omaha. Impressive physique. She might just chill out and wait and do the show in her own backyard of Germany, or come back here and do some shows in the States. It's all up to her. One lady who I hope maybe do another show I'm a fan of, and that is Gemma Lancaster. Miss Lancaster made her American debut at the Ultima Classic, where she was top 5. Now, most times she's competed shows like the Romania Muscle Fest. Maybe she might do, also I think she did the UK show too. Or did she? No, I'm trying to remember. That was in her own backyard. You think you want to do a show in your own backyard. But she might do another show later in the year. Maybe do either the show in Germany or the show in Portugal. Whichever show is available for her. We can't wait to see. Next up is one Miss Tiana Balut. And Mr. Balut has been competing for quite some time. I know she did a show last year. And I think she has possibly might see her do a show here in the States. Because last time we saw her was the Atlantic Coast. And also I know she did a Tampa and some other shows. Present Physique, great muscle. Let's see what she's going to do next. And where heavier is Reluca Raducu. And, she's from Romania. She's constantly been the two-time Romanian champion at the Romanian Muscle Fest. As you know, last year she took second to Caroline Alvarez. So maybe we might see her. I think this would be a great show to do for her. Because, or she might try to do the Romanian Muscle Fest again, which will get a qualification for next year, but she wants to get qualification this year. So then possibly maybe do Portugal, or maybe do the show in Germany, or come here in the States and do a show. And last but not least, the lady who I'm a fan of, the lovely Mrs. Natalia Bastrova. And as you know, Miss Bastrova is from Russia. We got quite a number of Russian competitors on this list, and she's been competing for quite a long time. Remember, she turned pro back in 2023 at the Romanian Muscle Fest, then made her pro debut the next day and made top 5, beating out at least 2 or 3 women who competed at the Olympia the month before. Present Physique, as you know, she made her American debut at both the Ultimate Classic and the Omaha, where she won the Ultimate and took second to Susan Graham at the Omaha. Present Physique, I mean, just surprised. This lady she's 50. I think she's gonna be 57 this year. 57, and wow! We just saw Robert Mays at 59 won her first Olympic qualification in Toronto. I'm just impressed by her physique. I'm in contact with her. Maybe in the future, she speaks Russian, and I know it's going to be hard, but she doesn't afraid to just translate. I would love to do an interview with her, even if I have to deal with a translator. But, wish her the best. Maybe we might see her do either Portugal or come here and do shows in the States, like maybe Tampa or Chicago. She hasn't said what she's done yet, but she'll post it once we get to hear. So, we're just waiting. Now, as I said again, this show is going to be in Spain. Spain is, I think, about 5-6 hour difference time for us in the U.S. So while we're still sleeping, the prejudge is going to be going on. But the finals are going to be probably later that afternoon. Probably around about, let's say, about 10, 11 o'clock, I believe. I'm trying to, because you got to get that time zone stuff right. It's another country. I don't want to miss it. I may not watch it because, like I said, right now I have some plans coming up, and I can't watch every show. And then I think one time I was trying to get the live stream, but it was an issue because of the American transfer of cash and pounds and whatever, or euros or whatever, some stuff. But I know the female bodybuilding show is going to be there. Also, Claudia from Hardcore Female Bodybuilding Fan. They'll post some stuff, and they do. I'll post and share it with y'all. But like I said, if you can, check out the show, support women's bodybuilding, because they do need support. Maybe next year we'll get some more ladies who want to jump on this show. We're hoping they do keep it. And I think the guy, Emilio, who's the promoter of the show, he's pretty cool. He's been pretty good with women's bodybuilding for a long time, especially when he had him at the Europa show. So check it out. I'm going to leave the link. You can go check, click, watch it, give your views, and, hey, share with me. Like I said, I would love to be there, but I don't have a passport. But best of luck to all the ladies, and we can't wait to see the outcome of this show. Anyway, this is man always Joe's page, a.k.a. the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Don't like, subscribe. I am out.